What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole and I'm a person in long-term recovery. My sobriety date is July 13th of 2015. So I have gained quite a few new followers. And so what I thought we could do is we could go back over a little bit of my story, what I was addicted to, how I got addicted to drugs, what my life was like before drugs, what my life was like during drugs, and what my life is like now. So if you're somebody who is new to my TikTok account, welcome. I am so glad to have you here, and you're in the right place. If you need recovery support and you enjoy content about recovery and addiction, then stick around. You will love Real Talk Recovery. And for those of you guys that don't know, I am Real Talk Recovery on all social platforms. You can find me on YouTube. I have a whole YouTube channel with over 1,000 videos of me just sharing my life with you. I am also on Facebook. I have Real Talk Recovery with Nichole, the Facebook group. I am on Instagram under Real Talk Recovery. And so you can find me everywhere. I also do a lot of videos with Dr. B on his YouTube channel. And his YouTube channel is Dr. B Addiction Recovery. Also, let me go ahead and plug this to let you guys know. Every Sunday, we are going to be live on Dr. B's channel, Parham and Dr. B. I always come on and put my 2 cents in also, but they're the main focus of the live stream. Every Sunday at 1:45 PST, Pacific Standard Time. Okay, and you guys can ask questions. We want to encourage you guys to get up there and ask questions. That's why we're doing this every single Sunday. Okay, all right. And so also, you guys can find me live streaming here on TikTok almost every single day in the evening around this time. 6 to 8 o'clock is usually when I jump on and go live and get serious and share, something with you guys, or we do recovery support group meeting, or we just talk about what's going on in life. But like I said, there are tons of new people that have found my account. In fact, let me look it up real fast and I'll tell you guys. I think I gained like over 2,000 followers in the last couple days. Which is, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. I'm always so grateful, you guys, to have you guys here. Like, I'm so freaking grateful. So yeah, I went from like 50-something thousand to 60,000 pretty quickly. Okay, so, but that's neither here nor there. Why I'm doing this is because I want to introduce myself to those of you guys that are just now finding my account. So, first of all, I've been sober for 5.5 years. I am an advocate for medically assisted treatment. I am currently on 2 milligrams of Suboxone, and I started out on 12 milligrams. So, I'm working on a taper, but I'm doing it really, really slow. I also work in the recovery field. I work for Dr. B, helping him with his social media and answering the phones for him for his treatment center. And I love helping other people with their social media platforms. I love, being active here with you guys. I love sharing my story. I love being a mom. I love all of it. But I would not be here today if my son was not born. He saved my life. So I was in active addiction from the time I was 17 years old till the time I was 32, I think. Wait, I'm 39 right now. I got 6 years sober, 6, 7, 8, 33, 32 and a half, 33 years old is when I got sober. So I was in active addiction for like 13 years. My drug of choice was methamphetamine intravenously, oxy intravenously, and benzodiazepines. Did I do other drugs? Yes. I shot cocaine, I smoked crack, I smoked marijuana, I drank alcohol. In fact, there was a point in my life where I became an alcoholic. I got in trouble. Oh, let me start over. I don't want to tell y'all that yet because I got to tell y'all the whole story. So buckle up, go get yourselves a snack. If you know somebody who would love to hear my story, share this video out to them and let's get into it. This could take a while. So I was born Nicole Marie DeMayo in Long Island, New York, to Mark and Jana. My mom and dad actually met in the Air Force. They were fighting over the last piece of pizza. So, just so y'all know, everybody in my family loves to eat. I'm half Italian and I'm half Mexican. I was doomed with the genetics of a fat girl. Okay? Okay. So, they gave birth to me up there in New York, and my mom looked at my dad and my dad looked at my mom, and they were like, we want to raise a family somewhere safe, where we can buy land and we know our daughters will grow up, and, you know, it's a little bit slower than here in New York. So what my mom and dad did was they moved back to Jacksonville, Arkansas, where my parents were stationed in the Air Force when they met. Long Island, New York. So they moved back to Arkansas, and my mom became a stay-at-home mom. I was the firstborn, of course, and then shortly after, I think 15 months later, my sister was born, my sister Michelle. And then 20-something months, or maybe almost 2 years later, my baby sister Christine was born. So I'm the oldest of 3 girls. It's Nichole, Michelle, and Christine. So growing up, you guys, I had the best childhood. My parents are amazing parents. They love me so freaking much. They love me and my sisters a lot. I wasn't spoiled. We weren't rich, but my dad worked really hard for the money that he made. My dad actually worked for the Postal Service, and he started out as a mail carrier and worked his way up to a postmaster, okay? And so he worked his way up slowly and eventually became the postmaster, and so he wasn't having to go out and mail. But he mailed mail for like 10 years, you guys. I can remember being a little girl and him coming home from work and telling me and my sister stories about how like a pit bull or a big ass dog would chase him. Like he said, he'd be walking down the fence and the dogs would just be chasing him. He's had to jump fences many a times. And for those of you guys that don't know, my dad is a big muscle man. Let me show y'all a picture of him. His name is Mark, and he don't play. He is strict, very controlling Italian father. So yeah, that's how I grew up. I grew up with a dad who don't play. Let me see if I got a picture of us together. And my mom is a little Mexican lady. See, my mom, here's a picture of my mom and dad. My mom had to learn how to speak English because she was actually, her first language was Spanish. And so for those of you guys can't see that, I look exactly like my dad. I am a spitting image of my mom and dad split right down the middle. But I really, really do favor my dad. There I am right here in the corner. But that's me and my sister Michelle, my cousin, my Nick. Nick is my nephew. Here's a picture of the story I'm telling you guys right now. So that's a picture of me and my sisters. That's me right there with the short hair. Okay? So that was what we looked like growing up. This little girl right here in the middle is Christine, my baby sister, and then my middle sister, Michelle. And that is our childhood home when we were growing up. So, one more picture. This was me in active addiction with my dad and my sister, Michelle. I'm the one in the black shirt. So growing up, like I said, my parents worked really hard. We weren't rich, but my dad made sure that he provided for our family. And my mother was a stay-at-home mom. So me and my 3 sisters, y'all, we was tight, y'all. We were thick as thieves. Growing up in school, people called us the DeMayo sisters, you know, because there was 3 of us. And we ran hard, okay? And so growing up, my parents were strict on us. We were raised up in a church that was called a Pentecostal church. And so we couldn't cut our hair, we couldn't wear makeup, we couldn't have our ears pierced, nothing like that. And we were in that church until I was like 10, I think. 5th grade is when we made the transition into a non-denominational church. And that was like when I was able to finally start feeling normal. Because I felt like everybody judged me because I had to wear skirts and dresses. And so growing up in school, I went to this school called Lake Hamilton. And I went there from kindergarten to 12th grade. I graduated from that school. And I can remember, like, I was one of the only girls that was Mexican. It was me and my friend Jessica and like 2 other black boys. But everybody that went to our school was white. So I was already kind of different. You know what I'm saying? And I felt that. And I felt like I didn't fit in. And that was from a really, really young age. So, as we got older, me and my sisters, you know, we started wanting to do stuff, and we started wanting to like watch TV, like MTV and stuff. And that's how strict my mom and dad were, that we weren't even allowed to watch MTV, you guys. Like, it was crazy. And so my mom started to like actually allow us to do things like, you know, watch MTV and go out with our friends. And so it was pretty awesome because of that really strict upbringing we had. Hey, Mad Dog. Thank you, bub. That really strict Pentecostal upbringing we had. It was hard for my mom to kind of like let go of that. But she ended up like kind of pulling back a little bit. We were really involved in the church still. Just we were going to a church that was non-denominational. It was an Assembly of God church. And so from kindergarten to like 5th grade, you guys, I can remember like just having a great time with my friends, hanging out. We would spend the night parties. Me and my sisters, we were not girly girls. We were the kind of girls that we would buy Barbie dolls. We would pull their heads off, pull their legs off, and play battle stations. Okay, we would get forts set up. One couch on this side, one couch on that side. All the cushions set up, and we'd be hiding out behind the cushions with pots on our heads and wooden sticks and those damn Barbie dolls, and we would be using those as ammo. Battle stations, awooga, pow, hit you upside the head with a Barbie doll head. That's how we rolled. We were crazy growing up. My mom and dad actually turned our garage, they closed it in and turned it into a playroom for me and my sisters because we just needed it. We needed it. We spent our life, you guys, when we were kids, going outside and playing in the tall grass until the sun went down. I remember coming inside and being covered in ticks, sea ticks, and my mom would be like, "Oh, mija, get in the shower," and she would have to de-tick all of us. I remember one time we tied our shirts together, tied it around a tree, and lowered ourselves down this little cliff thing that we had in our backyard because this cliff went down like that, and then there was a huge racetrack behind our house where the thoroughbreds, horses, raced because they were training them there. It was a training center for Oaklawn Racetrack in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So we grew up in the time where MacGyver and America's Most Wanted and Unsolved Mysteries. And I can remember sitting with my dad at night watching these shows. And so guess what? Your girl was scary as hell. I grew up with so much paranoia. I would think that I always thought somebody was going to break into our house. Now, one of the things that my dad would always say, make sure you lock the doors. You know why? Because if you don't, we're going to get chopped up. And I mean, I believed that. So from a young age, you guys, I was really scared. I was really paranoid. I thought something bad was going to happen a lot. So I remember the first thing that really happened that changed my life. In 5th grade, I had made a friend. Her name was Jessica Jones. I'll never forget her. Jessica had dark, blackish, brownish hair and crystal blue eyes. Our 5th grade year, she was diagnosed with leukemia. She ended up getting chemo, radiation, whatever it's called. And her hair fell out. So me and my sisters went and got beanies and we wore them to school so she wouldn't be the only one wearing them to school. I remember going to her house for a spend the night party. And her mom had a boyfriend and he was fucking really mean. And he was yelling at us and we all ran and we hid. And that was the first time I ever experienced like being at one of my friends' house and them not having the same kind of parents that I had. You know, my mom and dad were like super, just really nice, responsible. They didn't drink, they didn't do drugs, nothing like that. And so going over to her house and experiencing that, him being mean to her, him hitting her, them drinking alcohol, I didn't understand it, you know? So when we went back to school, we remained, you know, of course she was my best friend. She would come over to my house all the time. And she died. She eventually passed away from leukemia. And that was the first time I ever experienced death. And I was a 5th grader. And I was so sad. But I didn't understand it either. You know what I'm saying? So life went on. You know, life went on. She passed away. Of course, I was very upset. I cried about it. I made new friends because I was always the kind of girl when I was younger who I would make one really good friend and we would just go through life together. You know what I'm saying? And Jessica was that really one good friend for me. And so when she passed away, I made a new friend and her name was Marlene. And I'll never forget Marlene because me and Marlene went up through the grades together. We ended up starting to play fast pitch softball together. And she and her parents were so cool. They would let me stay the night all the time. And this is also the first friend that I ever met that was like, her parents were like rich. And I could like visually see the difference that her parents made more money than my parents. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I also remember that, you know? Well, as we got older, like I said, me and my sisters were thick as thieves. There was like a turning point where my baby sister, my middle sister, Michelle, started struggling with bipolar disorder. But at the time, we didn't know that it was bipolar disorder. And my sister was acting out. She was sneaking out. She was jumping out of the window. She was lying to my parents. She was being promiscuous. Now, you guys, my sister was in the gifted and talented. She made straight A's. Beautiful, beautiful girl. Okay? And so we're going to jump up to like 10th grade, 9th or 10th grade. And so my sister is starting to have sex and she's being really promiscuous. She's running away from home. And my parents cannot understand what's going on. They're like, what is going on here? You know? Well, the more she kept doing it, the more she kept running away, the more she kept acting out, she was missing school. And so the school came to my parents and they were like, if your daughter doesn't start showing up to school, we're going to have to call the cops on you and you'll get neglect charges. Y'all know how that goes. And so my mom and dad were not going to have that. So it got so bad that my parents had to have my sister Finn's petitioned. And what that means is where they sign over rights. Let's not sign over rights, but the state of Arkansas was responsible for making sure my sister got to school because my parents could not control my sister anymore. They did everything. She was in and out of juvenile jail. She was in and out of trouble at school. She was running away from school. And eventually, she got kicked out of our school. Now, while all this was going on, me and my sister Christine were kind of just being like neglected a little bit. Like my parents weren't paying attention to what me and Christine were doing. And so guess what I was doing? I was meeting boys and I was starting to use drugs. Okay? So my 10th grade year, I started to smoke marijuana and drink alcohol. And I also made the dance team. Hey, Carrie, congratulations. I made the dance squad, and so now I am feeling myself. And it's important for y'all to know this. My 8th grade year, I had gained a lot of weight. I was super chunky, and I was really fucking depressed. I felt really insecure. Let me see if I can find a picture. I felt really insecure, and I didn't know what to do. So my 8th grade year, I was on the band. I made the band. I was second chair clarinet, and I made the dance team. So guess what I did? I went to band camp, and I came back, and I lost 40 pounds when I was gone at band camp, you guys. I came back, and I remember my mom and dad saw me, and they were like, holy cow. And my dad was so proud of me, because one thing that my family, we all struggle with our weight. Hey, K-Hit, thank you, baby. We all struggle with our weight, and so we all struggle with our weight, so we all talk about it a lot, okay? So this is me in high school after I lost the weight. That's me in the pink sweater. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. What, baby? I'm telling a story, so don't ask me right now. Okay?
Can I tell you though something?
What, baby?
When I go on free and type in gun games, it's like it doesn't know what gun games are. It just says search.
Okay, will you do me a favor? Can you talk to your daddy about that? Because he's upstairs.
I just did it.
Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know, Nate. Nate, go upstairs with Daddy. Go. And I'll fix it, okay? So, anyway, so I lost all the weight, and I went into my 9th grade year feeling like the most beautiful, badass bitch that you would ever see in your whole entire life. My confidence was at 1,000. But behind the scenes, my baby sister Michelle, and let me show you a picture of my sister Michelle. My sister Michelle was struggling with her mental health. My sister Michelle was bipolar. She was getting arrested. She was going to juvie. She was in and out of mental institutions. And it was getting bad, you guys. It was getting bad. So, what else happened? Let me think. I want to show y'all a picture of me when I was in my cheerleading outfit. Hold on. And so Michelle got kicked out of our school, and so I didn't have to keep, watching after her anymore, because she got kicked out, and then my parents had to have her put into a mental institution. You guys, and it was hard. I'm the oldest sister. It was hard because I love my sister, and we were so scared. We didn't know how she was going to get better, and my parents didn't understand, and neither did me and my sisters. We didn't understand mental illness. We had never, I struggled with depression and anxiety, but nothing like my sister did when she had her bipolar, okay? And so we did not know how to properly help her. None of our family did. And so she had to go into a mental institution. Well, when she went into that mental institution, it was for 6 months. And my family, you guys, oh my gosh, it was the hardest thing I think I've ever been through, seeing my sister like that. They put her on so many things, so many medications, you guys, trying to get her mental health in line. It was really hard. That was me in my cheerleading outfit. And that's me as a baby with the stick-up hair.
I want to see stick-up hair butt crack.
See? So, okay. Nate, go upstairs. Take that upstairs, please. I'm doing a video. I'm telling my story time. Go. Yes, she still has bipolar disorder, but now she's properly medicated, and she does amazing now. She is so good. She might drop in because she always comes to my videos, live streams. So, my sister goes into the mental institution. I make the cheerleading squad. I've lost the weight, and I am feeling myself, you guys. That's when I met my first boyfriend, JR. Now, JR and me only stayed together for like 8 months. But y'all know how it is when you're young. I thought I had met the love of my life. Well, come to find out, he was just a stepping stone. And he ended up cheating on me with a girl named Rhonda. And it broke my heart. After he left, I found my boyfriend that I was with for 6 years. Robert. Okay? Robert was the one that I was like, I'm going to marry this boy. I'm going to marry this boy. And so me and my family, we were going to visit my sister in the Rose home. And they had actually put my sister on so much medication that they made her thyroid gland stop working. And my sister gained 90 pounds in 3 months, you guys. It was so scary. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to help her. When they finally let her out of there, my sister had gotten ballooned out to like 250. And she was young, okay? And so it really fucked her up. It was lithium that did that to her. While she was getting better, she came out. She went into a different school called Cutter Morning Star. So now me and my sister Christine are going to Lake Hamilton. My sister Michelle's going to Cutter. And so my mom is like having to take my sister to this other school. Now, in the process of all this, my mom got a job working at a school for developmentally delayed children. And y'all, my mom is the sweetest lady you will ever meet. She's just a loving, loving person. And she takes good care of her clients that she had. And so she was there working at that school. And so it was on the way to her work. So she would take my sister to school, and me and my sister Christine would ride the bus or ride with a friend. So things started to calm down once my sister got her bipolar disorder all balanced out. But little did my family know, I had been slipping through the cracks and experimenting with drugs and alcohol. And when I started dating Robert, I really started experimenting with drugs and alcohol because he was 1 year older than me, and he was also smoking marijuana and drinking alcohol. So now I'm partying like a rock star. I got this new boyfriend. I've made the cheerleading team. I'm on the band, second chair. I'm not popular, but I'm not like a nerdy nerd. So I'm kind of like in the middle, you know, where I'm like friends with everybody. And so I was feeling good. My confidence was like, you know, skyrocketing. And so I can remember what we would do is I would go to the games and I would have to play at halftime in the band. And then I would get done playing, hand the girl beside me my clarinet, and then I would run to the back and get in line with the dance team, because I was on the dance team, and do the halftime performance there. And so, like, I was on it, you guys. I was working it. Oh my God, is he the dude you lived in the trailer with? Who, Robert? Oh, no. This was when I was in high school, girl. That was LD. He comes after this. So high school's going good, but I'm getting into some shit. I'm starting to use drugs. I'm experimenting. I'm smoking a lot of marijuana. I'm staying out all night. Well, I tried cocaine. So my boyfriend went to a different school, so he wasn't there. So I had this other guy that I really liked named Monster. And Monster had cocaine. And he brought it to school one day and gave me some in the locker room. And so the moment I remember trying it, you guys, I did it and I was like, this is it. This is what I've been looking for all my life. I felt amazing. I had energy. I loved it. I loved the way it made me feel. In that process, I had went to the doctor, and I maybe had like 20 pounds that I wanted to lose. And as a teenager in high school, my doctor prescribed me phentermine, and I had a 30-day supply of phentermine. And so now I am giving Monster phentermine pills. He is a quarterback of the football team. I'm on the dance squad. We're popping phentermine pills, and we are speeding through life, y'all. He is out there on the basketball. He was a point guard, and he was on the football team. So he is on the basketball team, zooming, and I'm in the bleachers cheering for him, knowing my boyfriend Robert's at another school, and then he's on the football field, just zooming. For 30 days, we were zooming, y'all. It was so crazy. And so, anyways, that prescription ran out. I lost my 20 pounds, but this opened up my love affair for stimulants, you know? And I was young, and I liked it. I liked the way stimulants made me feel. I remember my junior year, my dad bought me my first car. Now, don't get your panties in a wad. It wasn't like he went out and bought me a freaking 2001 Mustang like all the other girls in my school. I went to school with girls whose dads bought them brand new vehicles. Like there was these three girls, Mary Kate, Melysa, and what was their big sister's name? Michelle. Three daughters, just like me and my sisters, and their mom and dad bought them all brand new Cougars. I will never forget it because I thought, damn, they are so cool. I remember Mary Kate, she was the sweetest sister. She was the youngest, and she had a maroon cougar. Her sister Melysa, who was the middle sister, had a silver cougar, and her big sister had like a blue one or something like that. Me and her middle sister were on the dance team together, and then the next year, Mary Kate made the dance team. So we were all on the team together. But their parents were like, you know, buy them. They could do that. They could buy them brand new cars, all three of them, and it wasn't nothing but a thing. Well, guess what my dad bought me? Can y'all guess? A 1982 Toyota Cressida. Let me show you what it looked like. I remember I cried, y'all. I cried. I said, Dad, I was born in the year 1982. What the heck? Okay.
Mom,
what, Bubba?
And I forgot that I want goldfish because.
Oh, let me find a picture because it was.
Here, you can eat those.
My dad had gotten the windows tinted, and he put a system in it, but still, I felt so embarrassed, you guys. Let me show you a picture of it. This was exactly the color of it. What, Nate? Tell Dad, I'm right here on my thing. You know what I'm doing? I'm busy right now.
Well,
what?
I want
That was it. I don't have any goldfish, Nate. So we'll have to eat what we have.
At like the gas station.
No. So I got my Toyota Cressida. I was embarrassed. I was crying. But I made it work. My dad, like I said, he tinted the windows. He put a little system in it with a CD player. And yeah, it didn't look bad. You guys, it wasn't bad at all. It was actually a really nice car. But I was young and all my friends were getting brand new cars. I wanted to fit in with my friends, you know. So, let me keep going. So, now my sister's out of the mental institution, okay? And I have to take all my sisters to school. We're all riding together now, okay? So, it's me in the front seat driving, my sister Michelle right here, and my baby sister Christina in the back. And I'm going down the road, and I'm at the stop sign, and I'm going to turn to go. There was no stoplight, so I'm stopped, and I'm going to turn left. Guess what happened? I pulled out in front of somebody, and they T-boned me. Bam! Right in the middle. And I totaled my car. I didn't even have it for 60 days, you guys. My dad was devastated. He was so upset. He was like, I'm never ever going to buy you a car again. And he meant it. He didn't buy me another one. So that was my junior year. I started just riding with my friend Jerry. My best friend Jerry was gay. And y'all, I'm telling you, this boy, I knew he was gay since the day that I met him. But he didn't come out of the closet until after we graduated high school. And I'll never forget it because he was like, Nicole, Jessica, I'm gay. And we both looked at him and we were like, we already know. You know, because he would be out there twerking with us. We would go to the clubs together and pop, lock, and drop it. I mean, we were just on it, y'all. He was my best friend. He's still my best friend. I just talked to him the other day. I love him. He calls me. We check on each other. He would come over for Christmas dinner every year. Like, this dude was like my best friend through life, okay? So, anyway, Jerry started taking me to school every day, so I was okay. So, junior year, I'm starting to get real froggy, y'all. I'm drinking, I'm smoking, I'm doing cocaine. Shoot, I've even tried methamphetamine, okay? And I am out of pocket. My parents are starting to notice my behavior. I am using drugs, coming home, and I am high. And they can see that I'm high, okay? And so my mom and dad started to confront me about it. They're like, Nicole, we're worried about you. Nichole, do you have a problem with your addiction? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. But my parents can tell. My junior year, I got arrested, you guys, because I was drunk at a basketball game. Me and my best friend Jessica, the girl I told you about, and Jerry, we had went and bought, hold on, I'm not going to tell you that because you got to listen to the story, Sydney, so that's how you'll know, okay? Okay, I've seen you ask it a couple times, but you got to listen to the story, girl. So, me, Jessica, and Jerry went and got that Seagram 7 and 7-Up, okay? Yeah, my sister knew because we were getting high together at this point. Me and my sister Michelle were using drugs together. My baby sister Christine was too young. She wouldn't have none of that, you know? Sorry. So, now, we were drinking in the hotel room, Seagram 7 and 7-Up. You guys, I was the kind of girl that I am fucking slamming it. I'm like, you know what I mean? I am all just balls to the wall. So I have to be at the game to cheer. And so we go to the game. I'm like, Jessica, I have to go. If I don't go, I'll get demerits. My dumb ass goes to the game. I have no bloomers on. And I am cheering, jumping up and down. And my ass is just flashing everybody, okay? I went to walk up the bleachers to go sit with Monster. Because like I said, I had me a little side boyfriend behind my other boyfriend's back. I almost fell on the coach's wife. And that tipped them off that I was drunk. Okay? They probably already knew.
Mom? Mm-hmm. Can you get me my, that thing that Dad was just eating?
Uh-huh.
That, like, egg and, potato and something else?
Mm-hmm.
The one he was just eating. Can I have one of those?
Mm.
Is it in the garage freezer?
I don't know. Will you ask Dad if we have it? Because I don't know.
He said yes. I asked him, do you have any more?
So long story short, I end up getting arrested, okay?
Hold down.
I got arrested for,
He said it's in the freezer
okay.
in the garage.
Okay. I got arrested for being drunk, and my parents had to come bail me out of jail, you guys. It was bad. Now my parents know that I have a problem. Like, it's out there. It's in the open. I have a problem, and my mom and dad, now they are knowing it. You know, now they are on to me, okay? So, excuse me. They confront me about it. They pick me up from the drunk tank, and they ask me about it. And instead of admit to them that I have a problem, I start trying to blame it on my sister Michelle. I'm like, well, Michelle's using drugs too. You know, Michelle's getting high too, and I'm kind of trying to deflect from what's really going on. And so somehow, some way, I got my parents to kind of not focus on that anymore. And I ended up graduating high school with barely. I graduated with all D's, y'all. All D's for DeMayo. In the process of me graduating with all D's, my grandma came down from New York to see me graduate. And I remember my dad was so upset. My senior year, I got really, I started abusing methamphetamine. And when I graduated my senior year, I was addicted to methamphetamine. I thought I was going to be able to go to college. I thought I was going to be able to make something of my life, right? You guys, I was a full-blown drug addict my senior year. And I signed up for college, and I ended up dropping out after the first year because I was just using all the time. What? So, now I've dropped out of college. Me and my sister Michelle are both using. And my parents know that we're both using. But they can't do anything about it because at this point, my mom put down an ultimatum.
Mom, Jana's shaking.
And she said, she's okay. She said, if you're going to continue to use, you can't live in my home. So guess what I did? I moved out. I had worked at JCPenney long enough. I had saved up money and I had bought myself a car. I had a 2001 Ford Focus and the year was 2000. So I was like, it's okay. I'll move out. Okay. So I move in with a friend and I'm sleeping on her couch. Okay. My friend Misty had an apartment. My friend Jessica had her own trailer. And so I'm like, I'll be fine. You know? My friends, Jessica, Candy, Jerry, they're not drug addicts. So they cannot handle my behavior. Like, I'm really screwing up, you know? And they're wanting to help me, but they don't know how to help me, you guys. So, like, I moved in with my friend Candy, and she got so upset with me, she kicked me out of her house and told me, you know, not to come back around until after I got sober. And so now, like, I am burning bridges with my friends. Like, my friends are getting upset, and I'm not even 21 years old yet, you guys. Hey, Lisa, I'm not even 21 years old, and I'm already losing friendships because of drugs.
Why? Why did you do that? Why
It's
did
ready.
you have to do that? Give me a new spoon.
Why?
You know I'm not going to eat your little stupid slobber on it.
Nate, give me this blanket and go. What did I tell you about bringing the blankets like this? What did I tell you about it?
You know, every time I'm going to bring in, then I'm going to
Nate, go. There. So, there's your food, baby. You're going to spill that. Take that upstairs and go. So, now I'm like I'm just strung out, you guys. I'm strung out, and I'm not even 21 years old yet. Now, in the process of all this, my boyfriend Robert catches me with Monster. I know. Not like he didn't catch me in the act, but he heard through the grapevine that I was hooking up with Monster, which I was, and so he broke up with me. When he broke up with me, you guys, I'm going to have me a tuna fish sandwich because I haven't eaten. When he broke up with me, I freaked out. I lost my shit, and I probably cried for a whole year. Now, during the process of him breaking up with me being depressed and crying about it, I had really just started to drink a bunch of alcohol and just party nonstop. Me and my friend Sonia were going to the club every Friday and Saturday night. I am drunk in the club till 5 a.m. every night. I'm shutting the club down. Okay? I know you're probably going, well, how did you do that if you weren't 21, right? Well, in Arkansas, in the club, at this time, back in the day, if you were 18, you could get in and they would just give you a wristband that said you couldn't drink. So we would go to this club, 10, what was it called? Club 5101, and we would dance until the sun came up, y'all. I met all kinds of boys, and that's when I met this guy who sold Coke. And so I met him, and me and my friend Sonia would go stay the night with him almost every night and do cocaine all night long. And so I'm getting like really bad off in my addiction. Like, I'm just partying, but I'm also working. I have a full-time job. I'm going to work, but I'm also getting really fucked up all the time. Get some pickles. So now, you know, I'm not completely dependent on drugs, but I'm getting to a point where my life is becoming unmanageable, right? But to me, I was just having a good time. Well, that's when, I think I was like 22 or 23. My mom came to me and she said, Nicole, me and your dad will help you get help. If you're willing to get help, we'll help you. And so I was 22 or 23. I went into my first treatment center. And I stayed in the treatment center for 30 days. I was coming off of benzos, opiates, and methamphetamine and cocaine. And the treatment center was called, I'll never forget it, Quapaw House Incorporated, y'all. And I stayed there for 30 days. I did everything they told me to do. And when while I was there, I met my dear friend Scott. He was gay, my best gay boyfriend besides Jerry. And when we met, it was like my best friend. We had just been stuck together like glue. We just didn't know each other until that moment. You know what I mean? And so in the treatment center, we were assigned to cooking. We were in the kitchen, so that was our chore, to cook for everybody. So baby, we would go in there, we would turn the radio on, and we would be listening to Madonna. We had Madonna on his CD, and we would listen. Like a virgin, hey, touch for the very first time, voguing and everything. Like a virgin. We were on it. We had so much fun. We cooked for everybody, and I loved that treatment center, man. I learned so much in that process. Also, I forgot to tell y'all this part. In the process of my crazy life and doing drugs, my friend Nikki, who is also a really close friend of mine, ended up committing suicide. And so now, like, shit's just going on. Like, my life is just... it's starting to fall apart, you guys. It's starting to get really chaotic. And I met my boyfriend, LD. So me and Robert stayed broken up for a year, and then I met LD. I met LD at his cousin's house because it was a meth house. And I went over there to get high on meth. And he had come out the back bedroom. And he was so fine. I'll never forget it. He had dark brown hair and green eyes. He was half Italian also. And I just remember seeing his face and being like, I'm going to be with him. He's going to be my boyfriend. But little did I know he was fucking homeless. But that wasn't going to stop me. And I made him my boyfriend. And we moved into this shitty little one-bedroom efficiency where the roaches had roaches. Okay? It was really fucking bad. And we ended up, my parents came out there to see me. And that first treatment center I went to, you guys, like, I wanted to get sober and I knew I had a problem, but I hadn't gotten to the point where my life was, like, so bad that I was, like, willing to all the way make the changes. I still thought that I could do what I needed to do and handle it. So I went to that treatment center, I got out, and then I relapsed, like, 90 days to 6 months later. So I did stay sober for a little bit, but not for very long. And after losing my friend Nikki, I was just really depressed, you guys. I fell into a deep depression, and I started shooting up. So let me I'm kind of skipping over a lot of stuff. So when I met LD, we moved into that little one-bedroom efficiency where the roaches had roaches. And it was just disgusting. He had no job. He had family that was not worth nothing. And yeah, it was really bad, you guys. He had nothing. He had no support system. And so when I met him, what did I do? I saw him and I said, I'm going to fix him. I'm going to take him under my wing and I'm going to help him get his life together. He was on probation he had a felony record, possession and some other bullshit. And so I was like, I'll help you get your probation taken care of. I helped him pay off all his fines. And yeah, we fell in love. Honestly, I don't think he was ever in love with me. I think he just used me. Because I was taking care of him. And he had nobody. His dad was mentally unstable and an alcoholic. So his dad would live with us. Anywhere we lived, his dad would live with us. His dad was in California when I first met him. But of course, LD called him and told him, hey, I have this girlfriend. She's so amazing. She's helping me. You can come down here and live with us. And so he did. That was a whole nother story. So now I'm living in this nasty one-bedroom efficiency And my parents are like, we want to see where you live. We want to know that you're going to be okay. And so I let them come and see me. Well, my dad freaked out. And he was like, no, sir. I am not going to allow my daughter to live like this. And so my parents helped me find a nice place to live. A little trailer house. And so me and LD moved out of that house, out of that one-bedroom efficiency, into the trailer house, and started our life there, okay? And so it kind of felt like things were going to be okay. Like, hey, we got our house, you know, he loves me, or at least I think he loves me, and I think we're going to make it, right? Jana, move. At the moment, he never hit me. He wasn't abusing me or anything. But people had told me, be careful, because he was abusive. But you know how it is when you got other women trying to tell you, you don't listen to him. And so I ignored all the warning signs, and me and him continued on with our relationship, and I continued using drugs, and so did he. I was working at Shoe Carnival at the time, and my dad had gotten a suggestion, a job offer for me. To come work at the revenue office. The revenue office is the state of Arkansas. And so I'm like, hell yeah. So I put in my 2 weeks notice at Shoe Carnival, and I went to the revenue office. Well, I'm making good money now. I'm making driver's licenses. I'm making IDs. I'm taking benzos. Or no, I hadn't started taking benzos yet. I'm doing methamphetamine. I'm smoking pot. I'm living my best life. Well, that's when the abuse started happening. And LD kind of got comfortable with me. And I remember he threw a sippy cup full of milk at my head, and it busted my head open, and blood just poured down my face. And I started crying. His dad looked at me. His sister looked at me. None of them gave a fuck. I went and laid down. I woke up the next morning. My whole pillow was covered in blood. Okay? No piss test. So I had to go to the hospital. Okay? I went to the hospital and they had to stitch my head up. And now I have to go to work, and all the ladies at work see it. So they know what's up. I was having a really bad day at work. This lady had tried to jump across the counter at me. I was stressed out, so my boss gave me a Xanax. Will you take that cover up to Nate?
Yeah.
A peach Xanax. And I took it, and I loved it. And so now, add Xanax to my list of drugs I'm abusing. At the revenue office, you guys, I was doing stupid shit. I was doing illegal shit I could have gotten a lot of trouble for. And I ended up having to resign from my job. Because if I didn't, they were gonna fire me. So after 5.5 years of working at the revenue office, I resigned. When I resigned, he left me. He left me, and he cheated on me with some girl named Trashy Ashley. When that happened, I was free now. And so I moved in with my friend Nichole. Me and her boyfriend, were all shooting up. We were shooting up. Yeah, he robbed me. I went to bed because I came home. I was working 2 jobs at the time. I was working at the revenue office, and I was working at Sonic. I came home from my second job, high as hell. I was taking methadone and Xanax at the time, and I was just nodded out. I went and laid down, woke up the next morning, and I had been robbed blind. All my diamond jewelry was gone, and I had a lot of diamonds, you guys, because I was building my credit at this time. I had a JCPenney, Zales, any credit card I could get, I had it. I was also buying people like drug dealers and stuff, my stuff, you know, to pay for drugs sometimes. Like I had my life together in the sense that I had a car, I had a good job, I had good credit. Like my dad had always taught me and was helping me build my life like that. But I also had a really bad drug addiction. And so when I woke up, all my stuff was gone. All my valuable stuff was gone. And I was calling him and calling him and calling him. Guess what? He never answered. That's when his sister called me and told me he was with Trashy Ashley. I'm like, fuck this. I'm out of here. And I took everything. Everything was mine anyway. I moved out. But I was still really upset, you know. He used me for 5.5 years to take care of himself. And that's what happened. He abused me and he used me to get ahead. And that's what he did to everyone. He was a user and abuser. He's dead now. He died in a car accident like 7 or 8 years ago. Because his friend was drinking and driving. He was in the passenger seat. They flipped their Jeep and he was ejected from the vehicle. But he was horrible. He was a horrible person, a horrible boyfriend. Like I said, he beat me all the time. I thought that I deserved it. I was a battered woman. I didn't leave because I thought I deserved it. My dad would beg me, please, Nicole, please, we'll help you get better. We'll put you into treatment. You can move back home with us. But I stayed with him because I was brainwashed into thinking that that was all I could do was be with him. And so when he left me, I just said, fuck it. And my addiction got really, really bad. And I started injecting. And just life went really, really downhill really, really fast. It's not even it's just now about to be 2007, right? By the time 2008 rolls around, I am running the streets with my friend Nate. He's manufacturing methamphetamine. We got this black guy named Quincy that we run around with. He's helping us deliver methamphetamine to everybody. He's got a fucking pacemaker and he's banging dope with us. And we are just running Hot Springs, just cooking meth, right? Well, one day, Quincy is driving my car, and we are just jamming. We got the rap music up high. We've been up for like 5 days, and we are on a mission. Well, we went over to this girl's house, the Terry twins, who are known confidential informants. And we give them some dope. The moment we pulled out of that driveway, guess what happened? We were set up. We were surrounded. Cops and detectives. And I go to the jail for the first time, besides that public intox I got when I was 17. Now I'm charged with possession of a controlled substance, methamphetamine. He bails us out. Okay? Hey, Diane. Thanks, babe. He bails us out, and I go right back to doing meth. I meet with my public defender. My parents freak out, y'all. My dad can't believe it. I make the front page of the newspaper. Everything's hitting the fan. My public defender gave me 3 years probation. I get on probation. I cannot pass one drug test. I think I passed the first one, and that was it. Quincy bailed me out. Quincy called this tweaker. This tweaker put up his Harley Davidson motorcycle and came and bailed us out. So, they put me on probation, you guys. I can't pass a drug test. for 3 years. For the first year, I'm just failing drug tests. I think it was probably like 10 months into my probation. My probation officer was like, this is it. This is your last chance. I'm sending you to treatment. Okay? And so this is my second treatment center.
Where's my switch?
Nate, I don't know. Upstairs, I'm here.
Wasn't it down here before?
No.
Did I give you it because I was mad because that didn't work?
I thought you took it with you. I don't see it, Nate.
And then I left it right
Go look on the couch. So now, yeah, Quincy, you guys, he ended up jumping. I never seen him again. They offered him 20 years on a habitual offender offense because he had got busted cooking dope many times and get all kinds of trouble. They offered him 20 years and he jumped and never came back. I never seen him again. I get sent to treatment at South Arkansas Substance Abuse Center in El Dorado, Arkansas. I stayed there for 30 days. Now, this is the story when I tell you guys about my worst withdrawal ever. This is that time, okay? Hold on, guys. I stay there. I'm doing good, right? I'm doing good. I'm listening to everything they said. Now, listen. He disappeared, Barley. I never, ever seen him again. Click the menu. Hold on, guys. Menu and fill out new patient forms. Okay. I never seen him again, ever, okay? And so now I'm in rehab. I'm in rehab. No, you guys, I don't know what ever happened to him. I'll have to find his last name. I think it was Smith, Quincy Smith. And he was a black guy. And Hot Springs, Arkansas is where it was. But I have no idea. Never seen him again. So I go to treatment and I'm listening to everything they say for me to do. But my detox was awful. At this time, I was coming off of benzos, opiates, meth, and I was so sick. It was also one of the first real withdrawals I ever really went through. So now, I'm in treatment for 30 days. I'm getting to know everybody. They all love me. They want me to stay in El Dorado. Okay? My counselor, right before I graduated, she was like, stay here. We'll put you in we'll put you in sober living. We'll help you find a job. We'll talk to your probation officer. This will be great for you. This will help you change your life. I couldn't see it. And I went back to Hot Springs. Worst decision I could have made. And I relapsed. I relapsed the minute I landed in Hot Springs. Went back to Hot Springs. I came in and I told my probation officer, like, I'm high. I'm not going to pass my drug screen. And so she revoked me and sent me to prison. She said, I'm going to put a warrant out for your arrest. You can leave. And come to the jail and turn yourself in or whatever. I paid my warrant so I could stay out 30 more days. And then November of 2009, I went to court and they sentenced me to a year in prison. So now, I'm going to prison, y'all. When I went to court for my prison sentence, I took my keys, I put them in my little gas tank thingy. I had 7 bars of Xanax. I went to the jail, or to the courthouse. They sentenced me, I took my bars, and they took me to jail. I called my mom when I got to the jailhouse. And I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to be here for a year. I love you guys. Now, you guys, my parents always supported me. They always offered help to me. But they weren't going to allow me to live underneath their roof getting high. They had their boundaries. And they had set them when I was young, you know? So now, my parents are devastated. Like I said, I'd only been to jail when I was younger for like a public intox, and that was it. And so, my mom and dad were crying. They were upset for me. I said, don't worry. Please just keep money on my books. I'll be fine. You know? And so, my mom and dad put $50 on my books while I was in jail. Every 2 weeks or so, they would do that so I could get commissary. I stayed in county jail for like 90 days. I think 60 to 90 days. And then they transported me to the prison. Now, I'll never forget it, you guys. I was in prison. I was getting to know everybody. I was getting comfortable. I handled it just fine, y'all. I'm the kind of person you can put me in any situation, and I am a chameleon. I can adjust to my situation. And so in prison, I did fine. I had no problems whatsoever. I worked my job in laundry. I fucking did what I was supposed to do, and I got out. One of the hardest parts, though, was my parents seeing me every weekend. They came every weekend to visit me. Now, at this prison, your visitors could come in there, and what you would do was, they had 2 chairs set up. It was in the gymnasium. 2 chairs where my parents would sit and a chair where I would sit. And we'd have to sit there with our hands on our laps. We couldn't hug them. Nothing. But we could visit for like 3 hours, 4 hours. It was a long visitation. But every visitation, you guys, we would have to get strip searched. Yeah, so the way it worked for my year, you guys, was, yeah, it was a year. It was maybe a little bit shorter than a year, but almost a whole year. Because I was on good behavior. And I had time served at the jailhouse, at the county. So my parents would come and visit me every single weekend. I remember my first visit with my parents. My dad was so upset. He was emotional. Asking me why couldn't I just quit. That's one question my dad always asked me. Why can't you just quit, Nichole? Why can't you just quit? And I would tell my dad, I don't know. I don't know. And I was 4.5 hours away, and they would drive every weekend to see me. All those friends I thought I had, guess what? The only person who wrote me was my gay friend Scott, the one I met in treatment. The only one who wrote me. When I got out of prison, my mom picked me up. And Scott was waiting for me at the halfway house that I moved into. He was waiting there with a brand new Vince Camuto leather purple purse. Because he knew leather purses were my favorite and name brand. Sorry guys, I was hungry. So, I'm all done now. Mom and Dad come and pick me up. My mom tells me Scott's got a present for me. Okay? And he's going to meet us at the Mexican restaurant. We're going to go out to eat. And then I'm going to move into the sober living. When I get there, I see Scott with this big old Cheez-It and grin on his face. And a Dillard's bag. And he handed it to me, you guys. And I just cried my eyes out. I just broke down crying. He cared about me so much. He was such a good friend to me. He had my back all through prison. I will never forget him. So, I moved into the sober living house. And for the first 9 months, you guys, I did so good. I got a job. I went to all my probation visits. 6 months I was on probation or parole. And then my case was closed. So I walked out my parole. I got a sponsor. I started going to meetings. About 6 to 8 months in, I moved from the sober living house into my own sober living apartment that was also connected. So now, but it's still a part of the sober living. And I am doing so well. I'm working the 12 steps. I get promoted to assistant deli manager at Kroger. I mean, I am doing the damn thing. And then one of my friends, Ashley, she relapses on Roxy's. And she lives next door to me. She comes over one night and she can't hit herself. So I inject her with Roxy. And that's when I decided I was going to relapse also. And so I started snorting Roxy's. I'm snorting the Roxy's. I'm buying them from Gerald. I meet Gerald when I moved to Little Rock. He lives across the way in the big high-rise that eventually I move into. I'm relapsed, and roxicodone, oxy, opiates. I relapse, and my counselor doesn't know. And so I'm sliding under the radar for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Okay? I'm sliding under the radar. No one knows what's going on. And I think I have everyone fooled, except I'm best friends with my counselor's daughter, Brittany. Brittany knows that I'm relapsed. And eventually, her mom says, Brittany, tell Nichole I need a UA from her. I haven't seen her in a while. And I look at Brittany and I was like, girl, you know I can't pass. What am I going to do? And she was like, you can always move in with me. And so I packed my shit up and I moved in with my counselor's daughter. And I'm paying her damn rent. I'm like, her rent was like $800 and I'm paying $400 a month just to have a bedroom. Okay? So I move into her house. I'm full-fledged relapsed, you guys. I'm shooting Roxy's. I'm shooting meth. I'm relapsed, right? And so that's when, now during this process of me living at the sober living, guess who I meet? Joe with the one leg. Little did I know, I didn't know he had a one leg. Before I move out of my apartment, while I'm like doing the do, I meet Joe at one of our sober living meetings, okay? We had to go to like AA meetings or whatever. We're outside smoking cigarettes and I look over to the right and there's this dude, he's bald, he's sleeved out tattoos. He has a white V-neck polo shirt on, dark washed blue jeans, and a pair of Timberlands. And I'm like, damn, he's fine. So I'm very forward. I write down my number, call me sometime, and go over to my apartment. Well, you know he didn't waste no time, and he called me. So now we're undercover. He's sneaking over to my apartment. Well, one night, it was the day we were going to make love. This is before I get kicked out. I forgot this part. You know, we're going to get it on. And so I'm getting naked. I'm on my bed, and he's getting undressed, and he's going to crawl on top of me. And that's when he takes his pants off, takes his leg off, puts it to the side, and then gets on top of me. And I'm like, hold up! You weren't going to tell me you didn't have a leg? You weren't going to tell me you didn't have a leg. Okay? And he's like, well, I was embarrassed. I didn't know how to tell you about it. I'm like, I would have never known. I would have never known, you guys. And so we are getting it on. He puts it in. And that little leg is just going. I'll never forget it. I loved him though, and it didn't bother me that he only had one leg. He did everything. He could do anything with that little leg, okay? But he didn't tell me until right when we were getting the doo-doo. So this little leg was just going. Y'all, We are still friends to this day. In fact, I just called him like a week and a half ago to check on him to make sure he was okay, because unfortunately he's in active addiction still. And so we're doing the do, and he gets caught at my apartment. Now, he went to the feds, and so he was on like house arrest, or he had to be at the sober living house, right? And he has that little thing on his ankle, okay? And so, on his good ankle, on his real ankle. So he has that little ankle monitor on him. And so they're like tracking him where he's going, right? And so they realize that he's out of pocket and he's over at my house, right? And so he gets in trouble and they send him back to jail. And so now he has to do a mandatory 90 days in the jail, all right? And so while he's in jail, I move out of the sober living. I move in with my friend Brittany, and I am going to the jail every Thursday to visit him and put money on his books. Ride or die, stop it. Ride or die. I am falling in love with him. We're writing each other letters, like 4 or 5 page letters. Like we're just coming together, you know? Of course, that's how it always is when a guy goes to jail, right? And so he gets out after 90 days, and we have established a relationship, you know? And so I'm going to his house every night. I'm staying the night over there. We start doing this thing called crab leg Sundays, where every Sunday we go buy a whole bunch of crab legs. We cook them up. We eat them. We watch movies together. And I'm relapsed. I am in full-fledged relapse. And he knows I relapsed. And he sees how bad I'm getting. Well, then he ends up relapsing. He gets off of parole. And he ends up relapsing with me. So we're both just in full-blown, we're relapsed, we're using methamphetamine together, we're running trips together, we're going all over the world. We're fucking up. We're screwing up our lives together, though, you know. Only I'm like way worse off than he is. Like he's not injecting, he only smoked it and snorted it. And so I'm already like off my rocker. Like I am losing my mind. I move out of Brittany's house, and guess whose house I move into? Tara's. Tara is the girl that I told you guys about, who ended up calling CPS on me in the whole grand scheme of things in 2015. And so this is where me and Tara's friendship starts. It's 2011, and I meet Tara, and I move into her house with her. Hey Maggie, if you don't understand what I was trying to just let you kind of be, girl, but I'm telling my whole story. The good, the bad, and the ugly. If you don't like it, you can leave. It's really that simple. So, do I need to block you, or are you going to go ahead and leave, honey? Okay? If you don't like it, just scroll on by, sis. It's not that hard. See, this is what I don't understand. Let me just take a second for Miss Maggie May. What do you not understand about this being my TikTok? What do you not understand about that? A lot of people love to hear my stories because I make it entertaining and they get a message at the same time. So just go, girl. If you don't like it, kick rocks. Okay, let's keep on going. Y'all ready? Okay. So, okay, where was I at? I can't remember where I was at. Shoot. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, if you don't like it, just scroll on by, girl. We're on a whole new level. You don't understand it. So, see ya. Okay, so, damn it. It's this, you got to know this part, these parts of the story to hear the whole, meeting Tara. Thank you, my loves. Thank you, my loves. So me and Tara meet, okay? I need to get a charger for my phone, so let's go grab that while we're going up. me and Tara meet, and I love this girl, you guys. Now, we're both in active addiction, so, you know, that also has a lot to say about it. My judgment wasn't as good as it could be. But I think she's amazing. She's crazy, she's wild, she's outgoing like me. I'm not going to be in here, so hush your little mouth, boy. She's outgoing, she's crazy, and we just join forces, okay? She lets me move in. I'm paying like $400 a month for rent, and I don't even have my own room, y'all. I am sleeping on the couch. But this is where, like, my addiction takes a whole new severity, all right? So now, let me get settled. Sorry. Now I'm living at Tara's house, you guys. And I don't know her zodiac sign, but just let me explain something to you guys. It's dirty. There's cat shit everywhere. There's just stuff strewn everywhere. There's food, because she would eat these like microwave dinners and just leave the boxes out. And this is hard for me, y'all. She also has a daughter who is like 3 or 4 years old when I move in. And we're smoking crack. We're doing meth. We're shooting up. She's diabetic, so we have endless amounts of needles. And we're using, and her daughter's there. You know how when you're in active addiction and you try to like make excuses for it, you say, well, I'm putting the kids in bed, or, you know, we don't do it when she's awake. That little girl knew what was happening. Every time we would sit down to smoke crack, she would come to that table in the kitchen and want her mom's attention so bad. And it was because she knew that we were doing that. Looking back on that, you guys, I hate that happened. I hate that I did that. You know, but that's part of the story, so I have to be honest with you guys. Joe and me are still running the streets, being crazy together. But now I have somewhere to live that I'm not just going to get kicked out of, right? So my addiction just continues to get worse and worse. Now, I'm still working a full-time job, 40 hours a week, just so y'all know. I'm still at Kroger. I'm still employed. I'm still the assistant manager of the deli. And I have dropped so much weight. I have went from like 180 pounds to like 140. I'm wearing I am wearing long johns, okay? I just look so skinny. I'm going to show y'all a picture of me, okay? And I want people to understand something. Like, this is my whole story. I tell everything in my story. If that offends you or you get fucking butthurt over it, it's real simple to keep scrolling on. But I think it's important, you guys, to share everything. You know, why would I just share half the story? You know, why would I not share the whole story? This is what happens in active addiction. This is the stuff we don't want to talk about, okay? This is why, because people come in and try to shame me for talking about it, you know? Why would you want to do that? Okay? I'm sharing all of it. All right? This is why people relate to me and understand, because I don't just say, yeah, you know, I was in active addiction. It was real bad. No, I'm sharing the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And if it means me sharing some funny stuff about Joe taking his leg off, if it means me admitting that I used drugs while I was in a house with a young girl, that's why people can relate to me. And that's why some people don't ever get help from other people, because other people think they're too good. Okay? I'm not ashamed of my story. I'm not ashamed of what I did, because I have healed and I have came through it. And I'm a better person because of it. And I'm not going to let some stranger from the internet who thinks she's a Billy Badass come in here and try to shame me for telling my story. I don't care how many years you've been sober. You should know enough then to know what I'm doing. Okay, so let's keep on going. Okay, let me show you all the picture of me though. So, it's getting bad, okay? I'm still, like I said, I'm working a full-time job. I'm just really bad off. I am super skinny. I'm super drawn in. Got dark circles under my eyes. I'm wearing long johns everywhere. And you guys might think I look good right there, but I can see myself and I see the hollowness. I see the no soul coming out of my eyes. I see the sickness. I see how I am hurting. I see how I am, the pain in my eyes. I can feel it. I can see it when I look at these pictures of myself in active addiction. Okay? I know I'm super self-conscious about my weight now that I'm sober, but you know what? I would rather be overweight and self-conscious than to be where I was. I would rather be where I'm at today than be back there. And I have to remind myself of that every day. Okay, so let's get back on track. So I'm living with Tara. I'm still working my full-time job. And I probably lived with her for over a year, you guys. And it's just getting so bad. I am shooting up Roxy's every single day. I have to shoot up these Oxys every day because they're an opiate. If I don't, I get deathly ill. I am smoking crack all night long, and then I'm waking up and going to work the next day. Okay? In the process of all this, I run into my old sponsor, Robin. The sponsor that I got when I was living in the sober living, straight out of prison. And she sees me, and she's like, girl, you got to make a change. Nichole, come on, you're better than this. And she kind of like talks some sense into me, right? And I have a moment of clarity where I'm like, I got to get help. So I go to Tara and I tell her, I can't live like this anymore. I can't stay here anymore. I got to get out of here. And I pack all my stuff up and I move in with my sponsor, Robin. This is after I have shot up so much drugs that I put myself in a 7-day coma. Let me tell you about that real fast, because Robin's in that part of the story. So like I said, I'm smoking crack. I'm shooting up every single day. And one day, I went to go get some meth from this guy that I bought meth from all the time. And he sells me some meth. I shoot it up and I go home to Tara's house. And I am already in full-fledged hallucinations. I'm looking on the carpet and I'm seeing blue Roxys. Oxycodone, blue 15, 30 milligram Roxy. The 15s are green, but the blue 30s all over the floor. And I am on the floor, you guys, and I am picking up cat shit probably, hair, whatever I could. And I put it in a spoon and I mix it up and I shoot it up. The next thing I know, I spike a fever. 102 fever. Bam! My face turns blood red. I'm sweating. I'm looking at Tara and I'm telling her, people are after us. There's people in the sky. And she is getting mad. She is like, calm down, Nichole. You are tripping. She's getting frustrated with me. So I leave the house and I walk outside and the next door neighbor calls 911. The police come first and they're like, ma'am, are you okay? And I'm talking in riddles. So they call an ambulance. And I get in the ambulance and I go to the first hospital. I'm there at the first hospital for like 3 to 4 hours, you guys. And I just finally said, fuck it. And I ripped off the things and I leave AMA. In that hospital bed, I seen Joe. He wasn't there. I seen my mom and dad. They weren't there. It was bad. So I leave AMA and I am walking down Markham Avenue at midnight with a t-shirt and a pair of boxers on and no shoes or socks. And I swear to you that every person driving by is trying to get me to prostitute for them. I swear they were all trying to get me to give them some ass. And so I pick up a stick and I'm like, pah, 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 trying to fight these cars off, right? I walk all the way down to, guess what? Kroger, my job. And I go upstairs and I use the phone and I call Robin. And I'm like, please come get me. Like, I've really fucked up, you know? And so she comes and gets me, and I go to her house and I pass out. I don't know if I fell asleep or what, but her and her husband had went and got my car. They have it outside. It's safe, and I'm passed out at her house. The next morning, I have to go to work. I get up. I go to work. I work till 10. Okay? I think it was like 1 to 10. I get off work, and I go to Gerald's house. Now, I'm still tweaking, y'all. I'm tweaking. I had to do a Roxy when I woke up. Like, I'm still out there. And so I go to Gerald's house, and I am sitting at his house. I do a couple shots of Roxy's and some shots of meth, and I am hallucinating triple. At this moment in time, I am seeing Cy from Duck Dynasty coming out of the vents of this trailer. And I am talking to Cy for 8 hours while I sit in this fucking recliner. Like, I was stuck there, you guys. Stuck. And so I'm bothering Gerald. I'm like, do you see it? Do you see it? He's getting really annoyed with me. And so he gives me a 100 milligram Seroquel trying to knock my ass out. I went to lay down, and guess what happens? I get right back up. And it's like 2 a.m. And I walk outside, and I take off walking. T-shirt, shorts, no shoes or socks. Okay? I go and I see in the distance this lady's porch. And it looks like there is just marijuana covering her front porch. And so I'm like, I need to get that off of there. She's going to go to jail if I don't get that off of there. And so I grab a stick or a broom or something, and I am on this lady's front porch, and I am sweeping it. She sticks her head out the window and then runs back inside and calls 911. Apparently, I scared her so bad that she forgot how to speak Spanish. She was a little Mexican lady. The police show up, and I swear to you guys that they pulled a gun on me. So I'm bobbing, I'm weaving, I'm bobbing, I'm weaving. And they're like, ma'am, just calm down. We're here to help you. And they get my phone and they call my mom. And my mom says, please, just take her to the emergency room. Please. And so they call an ambulance. Now, during this time, I am seeing my boss from Kroger. I am seeing my parents. I'm seeing Miss Brewer. I am talking to all these people, but they are not there. I get in the ambulance and I am scared for my fucking life. I swear to you guys, I thought the ambulance driver was trying to inject me with cocaine. They weren't trying to do any of that. They were trying to hold me down and get me to be still. They get me to the ER, you guys, and they put me in my own room. And that's when the hallucinations get even worse. It's all white in there, and I am seeing frogs all over the wall. They're jumping from here to there, and I'm licking the wall. It is crazy. I sit down on the bed, and the doctor comes in, and I remember them saying, did you do bath salts? Did you do bath salts? And I tell them, no, I did meth, I did Roxy's, I took a Seroquel. And so they give me a shot of Thorazine and Haldol, right? Trying to help me to go to sleep. Well, baby, that just intensifies it. And my hallucinations get even worse. Now I'm seeing the two little ladies from Kroger that I work with. We fry chicken together. Miss Marva and Miss Frida. They are underneath the door and they are blowing crack smoke to me. I am over there on the ground trying to suck the crack smoke from underneath the door. Like, this is full-fledged happening, okay? The nurse and the doctor come back in and they give me another round of Thorazine and Haldol. And that is when my body started shutting down. That is when I went into a coma. And I don't remember anything else. I don't remember nothing. I just remember not being awake. Apparently, my internal organs had shut down, and I went into a coma for 7 days. My mom said that when they showed up, my dad fell on the ground, because they seen me there and I had tubes coming out of me, out of my mouth, all out of me. And my dad was so upset. He just could not believe it. Like I was gonna die. I was gonna die. They came there and my mom sat with me the whole time. She said they didn't even brush my hair. That she brushed my hair, that it was all matted up in the back of my head. That she was wiping me down. And I woke up 7 days later and I looked at my mom and I was like, God, I was tired, I guess, you know. And she looks at me and she says, do you know how long you've been here? And I was like, no. And she's like, you've been here for 7 days. And that's when I knew, like, damn, man, I really fucked up this time, you know? I had overdosed a lot of times, you guys, because one thing I would do is I would shoot Roxy's and I would take Xanax bars, or I would already have Xanax in my system and then I would shoot Roxy's. And so I overdosed a lot. I've been to the hospital for overdoses 6 or 7 times, okay? So my mom was like, we need to help you. We need to get you out of here. We need to go get your car and get you safe somewhere, right? So they came and got me. We went and found my car. My friend Gerald had it, of course. And my parents took me back to Hot Springs. And that's when I got on the phone and I started calling all these treatment centers. I found a treatment center called Recovery Centers of Arkansas. And I knew that that was probably going to be the next place that I went, but not before I went on a bender. And so I left and I went out and I got so high. I got a bunch of Xanax bars. And then I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I made the decision. I went into treatment and I went into RCA. Now this was the year 2012 or 12-ish. Okay. I come out of RCA, I relapse, okay? I can't stay sober. I'm not getting it. And in September of 2012, I meet my husband. I will never forget it. I was still working at Kroger, and I had moved in to live with my friend Hunter and Kaylee. I was paying half the rent to sleep on their couch. And they invited some people over, and then I invited my friend Casey over. Casey brought Neil with him, and that's when I met my husband. And I will never forget seeing his little face. He had red hair and it was spiky. He had freckles, and we sat beside him. I sat beside him and we just started talking, and he was high and I was high, and we just got to know each other. And I fell in love with my husband literally the first night I met him. Like, he was the most kind. He just understood me. We both understood each other. He was so kind to me. He opened the car door for me. He was paying for me to eat. I never had a guy treat me good like that. Even though he was actively in his addiction, he didn't let me try to take care of him. He took care of me, and I had never experienced that before. Now, he was in a MAP program. He was on methadone, and so he was trying to stay sober, but he wasn't being successful from meth. He was staying sober from opiates because he was on MAT, but he wasn't staying sober from stimulants. And so when we met, we were both just running hard shooting meth. And when I found out that he had a prescription for methadone, then I got on methadone. And then we both were sharing this prescription of 365 methadone 10 pills a month is what he was getting prescribed. And so we're splitting this. Well, for me, on methadone, honey, it's not me and methadone. We don't mix. I am so fucked up. I am nodding out 24/7. I am setting myself on fire with cigarettes. I start losing my hair. Losing my hair. I'm not talking like a couple of hairs fall out. I'm talking about full-on bald spots. Like, I could pull my hair and there would be like a huge spot, and it's smooth, like a circle spot. My hair is falling out. I go to the hospital or to the doctor and I think I have alopecia, right? Alopecia. It's got to be alopecia. You guys, my hair was falling out because I was so malnourished. I was abusing my body so bad. That's what was happening. Stress, being high all the time, that was what was happening. My hair was falling out because of that, because of my malnourishedness and the stress that I was putting my body under from abusing methadone, shooting meth, smoking crack, eating benzos. So me and my husband's addiction, once we met each other, it was like gasoline on fire. We went poof. So when he took me to meet his family, they were not happy about meeting me because we were both just so bad in our addictions. And we weren't making each other's addictions better. We were becoming worse together. So I'll never forget it. It was December of 2013. I think it was maybe it was 2012. It was a couple months after we met. His parents sent him to treatment in Pocahontas, Arkansas. In this place where they didn't have a doctor, no nurses, nothing. It was like a place that was free. You know what I'm saying? Where they just lock you down and it's like they pray for you. It was like a faith-based treatment center. He went through withdrawal. He fucking almost died. It was so bad, you guys. He left. He stayed for 2 weeks and he left. He was like, see ya, I'm out of here. And he came back home. Well, we knew we needed to get sober and we wanted to change our life. We just didn't know how, right? So we would stop using and we would white knuckle it together and we would go through withdrawal together and then we would relapse. And this was just like a vicious cycle, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. One day I was standing in this kitchen right here and my father-in-law looked at me and he said, "Are you pregnant?" And I said, "How dare you? Are you saying that I'm gaining weight?" You know? He's like, "No, you're glowing. Are you pregnant?" And I was like, Al. No, his name was Al. "No, I'm not pregnant." A week later, I take a pregnancy test, and guess who's pregnant? I'm pregnant. It's 2013. Me and my husband are shooting meth, shooting oxys, taking benzos. We have nowhere to live. We're living with his parents. And I'm pregnant. I've already lived in a little apartment. We tried to make that work. We couldn't take care of ourselves. It was just like it was just a dope house when we were all shooting up together. Now I'm pregnant. And we sat down and I was like, "Listen, I understand if you guys don't want me to have this baby." Like, I was so afraid they weren't going to accept me and they were going to tell me to abort the baby, right? Neil's parents sat me down and they were like, no, we'll be here to support you. We'll help you through this. You guys need to get sober. You need to get better. This is your chance, right? And I even was like, you know what? This is it. I've got to make a change. You guys, I hate to even talk about this because I hate that I used drugs through my whole pregnancy. Somehow, some way, I was able to walk away from the opiates, but I stayed on methamphetamine, and I gave birth to my son, and I was high. In 2014, July 4th, he was born, and he was the most beautiful, perfect baby ever. He didn't barely cry. He was so well behaved. My mom and dad, they had moved to New York and they flew back from New York to see me have my son. My mom stayed for a week and taught me how to be a mom, taught me how to breastfeed, all that. And after my son was born, I stayed sober for 90 days and I relapsed. And when I relapsed that next year, it was a blur, but it was bad. I was leaving my son with his Gigi, my mother-in-law, and my husband and I were just relapsing. That's when my friend Tara called Child Protective Services on me. We had gotten into an argument one night, and she owed me money. She didn't want to pay it back to me, so I got it from her boyfriend. And she got pissed at me, and she called CPS. They came to my house about 3 times, and I guess I didn't know it, so they left a note on the door. And when I got that note, my heart dropped into my stomach. And that's when I knew the jig was up. I went to the office, I took a drug test, and I failed it. They came to my house and they drug tested my husband. When that happened, they took my son. They said, yeah, she was doing the same thing, Barley, still high as hell. They said they wouldn't take Nate and that they were going to put an order of protection in place and that we would just have to go to parenting classes, right? Well, that's not what happened, and they took my son. So what I did was I went straight into treatment. I did not waste any time. I went into rehab that day that my son got taken away. For the next month, I was in treatment. It was hard. It was not easy. I was struggling. I was struggling with benzos. 2 weeks into it, they caught me taking benzos at the treatment center, and they sat me down with my caseworker, and they said, if you relapse again, we will terminate your rights. And that's when it just all started hitting me. Like, damn, I'm going to lose my child. And that's when I got serious. It was 2 days before his first birthday, Brenda. That's when I got serious, you guys. When they sat me down and they told me that I was going to have my rights terminated, I knew that there was no turning back. And I ceased all contact with my husband, and I started focusing on my sobriety. When I got out of treatment, my husband had went ahead and he had gotten into intensive outpatient. He had gotten on Suboxone, and he had gotten into meetings and was getting his sheet signed and doing the right thing. When I came out, my husband told me, I'm on Suboxone, I've been doing this, this, and this. And I remember looking at him and I was so upset. I was like, why did you get on Suboxone? You know, and he was like, Nichole, I need help. I can't do this on my own. I was so mad at him. For the next 3 days, I was angry. And then I started struggling. I started wanting to get high. I started having depression. And that's when my caseworker called me and she said, why don't you get on Suboxone too? My CPS caseworker. And this is 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. And so I was like, I don't know, because I had always went to AA and NA. I didn't know, you know. And so we had a family meeting. We met with my doctor, my therapist, my parents, everybody. We all met. And that's when I decided that I would get on MAT also. I got on MAT, and baby, I started kicking ass and taking names. I got my sponsor. I started working the 12 steps. I got into therapy. I started chairing meetings. I was a secretary of the home group. I got busy. I went to parenting classes. I started saving money. I did everything, you guys. I was walking everywhere I went. I was thriving. I was kicking ass. I was going to all of my CPS meetings. I was seeing my son every week, 2 times a week, because he was so young. And I was doing it. I was doing it. Me and my husband did it. We didn't relapse at all. We stayed straight the whole time. Now, let me tell y'all about how hard it was with CPS, because it was not easy. I gotta let my dog out. Now, CPS wasn't bad, but it was my son's attorney ad litem that was horrible human being. And this woman wanted me and my husband to never get custody of my son back. For some reason, she had it out for us, okay? And so I think what happened was she talked to my sister-in-law, and my sister-in-law and my husband do not have a good relationship. But anyway, she was making it really difficult. Now, we went through all the proper chain of commands. We got our hair follicle tests done. We took our drug screens every time they asked, and without fail. In fact, you guys, I had to remind them to give me drug tests. I had to remind them to do my home visits. I had to remind them to everything. It was so crazy, okay? But I kicked ass and I took names. And when it came up, 6 months into it, they started letting me and my husband take my son. Good job, Monica. Out to like the store or go to the playground, and we got to do all that stuff, right? Thanks, Monica. I love you, girl. And so now we're getting to like taking places and stuff on our visits. Then at 8 months, we started being able to have him stay the night on Fridays and Saturdays. And then we would have to take him back on Sundays. I cannot tell you how hard it was to take my son back every Sunday because I wanted him to stay. But we did it. We did everything they told us to do. Everything. And at 1 year, we had our last court date. And at that court date, they tried, that damn attorney at Lytton tried to prove us unfit. I had taken 3 psychological evaluations. I had done all my parenting classes. I was involved in AA, had a sponsor, was going to meetings. I could recite the 12 steps in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I went on the stand and I fought for myself and I fought for my son and I showed them I know what I'm doing. I know that I'm sober. Will you give Nate a shower? I know that I'm doing the right thing. My husband, they put my husband on the stand, tried to ramrod him, tried to accuse him of drinking alcohol when he never drank a damn drop in his life. The lady tried to ask him a question, say, what do you think about drinking? And my husband goes, well, it's not illegal, but I don't do it. And she goes, so you drink alcohol? It was a whole shit show, this attorney ad litem trying to fuck us over. I'm serious as a heart attack, you guys. My doctor, my nurse, my therapist all took the stand to have our backs and to stand up for us. Because here's the thing, you guys. I might have been using drugs when I was when I had my son, but I wasn't a bad person. I love my son. I was sick. I needed help. Okay, I didn't need to be treated like a fucking criminal. I needed help, man. And so we fought and we won and we closed our case and we walked out of there and I said it. I will never be back here ever again. And I know my rights now. If that ever happened again, I wouldn't let them in my door. I would not let them pass my drive. They wouldn't step foot in here. But let me just tell you this. So we got Nathaniel back. I'm sober. I've got a year sober now. It's been 1 year. I've been sober for a year, okay? And I'm doing really well. And I talked to my sponsor and I'm like, can I tell my story? Can I help other people, right? And my sponsor's like, I don't see why not. You got a year sober, right? And so I was like, okay. And so I started sharing my story on Facebook. And you guys, I have always been 100% transparent and honest about my journey with medication-assisted treatment. And so I was sharing about that during my story time on Facebook. And I got met with so much judgment from other people in recovery that it discouraged me so much that I deleted my Facebook and I stopped. I said, I'm not doing that. Fuck it. And then all of a sudden this fire got inside of me and I thought, if I'm getting judged, then I know other people are. And I was like, fuck that. I'm going to tell my story. And so I started my YouTube channel. And when I started my YouTube channel, nobody took me seriously. Everybody thought that I was just full of shit making videos, right? And I did. I made my videos from 2017, 2018, 2019. For 3 years, just hitting it hard, uploading every single day, making vlogs, sharing my life just like I do here. And guess what? That's when Dr. B found me. Dr. B found me and he said, why don't you come over on my channel and share your experience, strength, and hope? Or share your story, And I was like, a doctor wants to hear my story? Are you kidding me? And he's like, yeah, come on. And so we started doing videos together. I looked up to him so much. I still do. I still look up to him, right? My boss, Austin, was who introduced us, And so I looked up to them both. Austin, him, Dr. G. I'm still heavily involved. Dr. B is my boss. I'm still heavily involved in AA. I'm going to meetings. I'm still doing therapy. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. My son, I have full custody of my son back. My little boy started school. All these good things are happening, right? 2019, the end of 2019, Dr. B calls me and he says, hey, we might have a job for you next year. January of 2020. Go upstairs and take a shower, please. Okay, go and take a shower, Nate. Go take a shower. He says, we might have a job for you in January of 2020. And I'm like, for me? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. January of 2020, Austin calls me and they hired me, and I have been working with them ever since. I get to share my life with everybody, and I get to help addicts and alcoholics, and I get to live my life giving back, helping others, just like somebody helped me. And I started out, I was working for a little sandwich shop called Nukes. Then I started working for Hallmark, and I thought I was always going to work, in retail. I was just like, I'm never going to be able to do what I really love to do, right? I was discouraged because a lot of people in recovery told me because I was on Suboxone that I couldn't help other people, that I couldn't work in recovery, right? I started out on 12 milligrams of Suboxone, and I started tapering in March of 2019, and I've gotten down to 2 milligrams. And let me just tell you guys this. Medication-assisted treatment, therapy, and the 12 steps saved my life. No, Amanda. No. He's Nathaniel Alexander. So he's got his daddy's first initial and his name, Nate. And then Alexander, because his grandpa's name. And yeah. So I fought tooth and nail to get to where I'm at today. And so when other people try to disregard what I'm doing or talk shit to me or treat me disrespectfully, I just do not have that, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Michael. Michael, how are you doing, buddy? I want you guys to understand something. I worked my way up from the bottom. I clawed my way to where I'm at today. When I got sober, I started reaching out to anyone that had longer time than me. I found other women that had 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. My last sponsor that I've been working with has 33 years sober now, 34 years sober. A long time. I surround myself with other people in recovery who help support me every single day. Okay? I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to do this. I have worked my butt off to get to where I am. Okay? To get to this point. I have helped people on YouTube, Facebook for years before I ever got the job I have now. And I worked really hard to get to this point, but I put in the work. I uploaded videos on YouTube sometimes 2 times a day when I first began. I did not just get in and half-assed it. I hustled my way all the way up to where I'm at today. Okay, and so it's important, I think, for people to understand that. Like, I didn't just expect things to be handed to me. I started working right away. I got a job right away. I've always worked right away. When I got out of treatment, I got employed, okay? I have a felony on my record. I still got employed. There's no excuse, real talk, there's no excuse why people can't do for themselves, okay? I have a felony, I have mental illness, and I'm a drug addict. And I have gotten a full-time job. I have saved money. I bought a car. In my sobriety, I bought a car. In 2017 or 18, I had 2.5, 3 years sober. My husband and I went to the car dealership. I had to have a co-signer because my credit's shit. But my husband was able to co-sign for me a car. And so I now have a 2016 Mazda 3 with under 50,000 miles on it. under 50,000 miles on it. My husband and I, we can take vacations now. We go to places like Branson. We go to places like Silver Dollar City. We go to Pettigene. We love taking trips when we have vacation time. I've flown out to California twice now, and I'm going back in June to work with my bosses. Like, I have worked my way up from the bottom. I was homeless, okay, you guys? I had nothing. My parents didn't save me. They didn't take me and say, here, you can live with us and we'll take care of you. They kicked me out when I started using drugs, okay? And I was, like I said, paying to sleep on people's couches. I have always worked hard for what I needed, whether it was an active addiction or in sobriety. And so that's why when I here on my TikTok, that's why I'm so serious about my sobriety, you guys, because it's not a joke to me, because I worked hard to get here. Every single thing I've done has been me working my ass off. So, any questions? That's my story. That's my story. Now I'm able to help people. I have full custody of my son back. Like I said, I am very involved in the recovery community. I have a YouTube channel, Real Talk Recovery with Nichole. I have a podcast, Real Talk Recovery. I have a Facebook group for recovery support. I have this TikTok channel. I have guests on my YouTube channel every Monday and Friday. And this past Monday, we just had Danielle from the guy who makes the Becky videos. This Friday, we're having Kyle from Sober Dogs come on and tell his story. I want to help other people. I want to help other people by sharing my story. Okay? I am literally a shining example of what all of you guys can do. I didn't have any certain circumstances. I didn't have any, like I had it hard. I waited, oh, it's uploaded now, Tina. Right. When I first got sober, I didn't help anybody either. My sponsor told me not to do anything, Kelly, she wouldn't let me until I had a year sober. And that's another thing why I don't understand a lot of people on TikTok, because I'm worried for them. If you're under a year sober, you need to be totally focused on changing your life around. And that's why a lot of people don't succeed, because they don't listen or take suggestions. Hey, Chris, I love you, man. Yeah, it's uploaded on my channel right now, Menching. What happened to Hope Shots? I need people to resend me. Listen to me. I was going to upload Jay's, but I forgot. Honestly, those text messages, if you sent me a picture, I will do your Hope Shot, but I need you to send me a message so I can get your message to come up to the top. I've talked about that a couple times, Dee Dee. I guess you weren't in here for that. Resend me a message so I can see it, because it's gotten buried in my texts. Yeah, you can watch it now. It's up. That was a very good story. Do you plan on writing a book? I wish. I wish. Totally agree. 13 months and still have a lot of growing to do. And so listen to me, you guys. Like, honestly, like even I know at 5.5 years sober, even I know where I know when I can't handle something. When I have too much coming on my plate, I'm honest with people. Because I have people ask me every single day, Nichole, will you sponsor me? Nichole, will you do this? I say, no, I cannot. And do you want to know why? Because I want to be able to give that person 100% of my time. And so I know that my plate is literally loaded right now. And so I know, I know myself and I know what I'm capable of doing. But, it was hard for me. In early sobriety, I got excited because I wanted to help other people. But I'm so glad that I had a sponsor that helped me, because I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't listened to her. But here's the thing on TikTok, you guys. Everybody gets mad at me because I say you need to focus on your recovery, right? Everybody gets pissed off because of that, but it's just the truth. And, if you can't take suggestions from people, then it's going to be hard for you, man. You're welcome, Brenda. Thanks for being here. And you guys, thank you for all of you guys that are here, that were listening to my story, that actually sat and listened. You know, yeah, I tell a lot of my business. I tell a lot of my crazy story times, you know. I get it. I don't like it when people jump in and they say things like, you shouldn't be telling that. Like, why can't I? Why can't I? You know? This is social media, first of all. We're not in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. We're not in a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. So that's first and foremost. If I was in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, I would kind of shorten my story and not tell so much of those details because it's just not needed in there. But in here, this is how we relate to each other. You guys hearing the crazy dumb shit that I did, you guys can say, damn, Nicole, I did that same shit too. That is how we connect. And if people can't understand that, I just don't understand how people don't understand that. You know? Also, I want you guys to stay and actually listen to the story. So I have to keep you entertained. You know what I'm saying? I have to keep you entertained, right? And so that's part of here on social media is keeping y'all entertained also. So this isn't the same as just being like in a recovery meeting, you know? This is social media. And so that's part of what makes me so good on social media is because I know how to keep people entertained. Baby, I know what I'm doing when it comes to storytelling. Do you know what I'm saying? So it just disappoints me when people just jump in here and they don't know. They don't know me. They don't know the situation. And they just kind of jump into making judgments. You know what I mean? Okay, so do you guys have any questions? If you do, go ahead and ask them and I'll answer you guys. And here's the thing, you guys, like, a war story is when you're glorifying the substance, okay? I am not glorifying drugs and alcohol at all. They ruined my life. I'm really just sharing my story, my experiences. And so just because I share a story and I'm telling you, yeah, I was shooting Roxy's. War stories and where you're like reminiscing and you're like, oh yeah, man, I can't wait to get out so I can shoot another Dilaudid, right? I can't wait until I get out and I like to smoke a joint or whatever, right? Thanks, Kimmer. I appreciate you, baby. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand. Not you, Amanda, but a lot of people comment and they'll be like, Nicole, you tell too many war stories. I'm literally telling my story. Like, this is my whole story, you know? Yes, Teresa, I have heard of it, and I got into a little tussle with somebody the other day because people are going around and saying that it's a cure for addiction when it's not. And I don't like it when people go around and spread half-truths. Yes, if you want to take Ibogaine and trip and reset your brain, have at it. But I cannot understand why people want to give other people that false hope. Okay? If you do Ibogaine and you come back and you do not go into therapy and you do not start working on yourself and you do not get involved in recovery, you will relapse because there is no cure for addiction. Okay? So, yeah, Ibogaine is it's plant medicine, and it is a medication or a plant that basically it's a psychedelic, and it helps you start tripping balls. And it's not safe for people who have heart issues or liver issues. And so, Kelly, have you heard of it? Ibogaine is psychedelic. You take it, you have to go to Mexico or another country to get dosed with it. Okay, first of all. Second of all, it's not safe for people who have heart problems, liver problems, any of that kind of stuff. So you have to be in good health and good shape to get it done. They give you the plant medicine, and then you like literally start sweating, projectile vomiting, hallucinating, all this stuff happens, right? It's supposed to be during like a thing where a shaman is like there. It's crazy, guys, okay? And they say it resets your brain to a pre-addicted state. I think what it does is you have a spiritual experience tripping balls on this psychedelic plant, and your withdrawal and all that stuff, you go through it, right? You go through all that, and when you come out on the other side, you have tripped balls and you no longer have any withdrawals, right? But the whole thing is, if you don't come back and do anything no, I've never tried Ibogaine. If you don't do, but I know people who have done it, who talk about it all the time, and who, the only thing I can tell you is they talk about it a lot because somebody's paying them to talk about it. I think somebody's paying them to recruit people to go and do it all the time. Yeah, Amanda. Oh, God, James Sweezy. I know James Sweezy. I've known James Sweezy since I got sober 6 years ago. He's something else, too. And I think a lot of these people, they get paid by these Ibogaine clinics to talk about Ibogaine and try to get people to do it. So, yeah, it's just... Here's the thing, you guys. Like, I have no problem. If you want to trip Ibogaine, that's fine. But I think it's really important for us to be honest. And like I said, there's no cure for addiction. Okay? We have to work for the rest of our lives, right? To stay healthy. To stay away from getting high in our addiction. And so I think it's really important to set that and let people know so they're not having false hope. And when I hear people say things like, it's going to cure your addiction, it makes me mad because I feel like they're doing that to almost prey on people to get them to do the treatment. And I've heard so many people say it. But anyways, that's what I know about it. I gotta wash my face and get ready for bed, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my story time. I really, really do. And like I said, you guys, I'm here to share all of it. So if you're somebody who gets offended, doesn't understand, I'm really sorry. But I share everything. And I really hope you guys were inspired. I hope it helped you. And I hope you guys know that if you ever need anything, you can always reach out to me.